Hello, how you doing there? How do you live a Christian life in this day and age? Better yet, how do you create a happier and more meaningful life experience in this very day and age? It's a question that we wonder and ponder upon each and every day. When we encounter challenges and difficulties in life, we ask ourselves, how do I do it better? Or sometimes we give up and surrender to the problem or challenge at hand. But I'm here to encourage you that you have an option in the matter. It's an option that you can exercise, and actually you can become a creator, a partaker of life rather than a slave of life. My name, if we have never met, is Alpha Mshihiri. I consider myself as a life explorer. I explore life through the scripture truth when I unveil mystical meaning, as you call it, where beneath it we find the spiritual truth that afford you the ability and capacity to experience a happier and more meaningful life by using those tools. And I am glad to be able to share them with you because I have applied them to my life. Whatever I explore, when I excavate something that of value, I'm like, okay, let me see how that works. Can I change this? I need to take care of this situation in my life. So I apply those teachings, and often I find a different result. It's always amazing, exciting, loving, and I love each and every aspect of it. That being said, this is the part 4 of this series. There's other part that if you missed, just look forward for a whole series if you have time to watch the whole series. But there's a first series, there's a first part, second part, there's the third part, and this is the fourth part. And in this part, I just want to take on from where we left. You have a choice, no matter what you're going through. And the scriptures remind us of that. It tells us today, you have been given the choice between life and death, blessings and curses. I will stop there. Actually, when you look at the scriptures, the writer of that scriptures is not saying 4 different things. He is saying 2 different choices you have. He's equating the idea of life as blessings and equating the idea of death as a curse. That's what the writer of the scriptures is doing in that very simple scripture. This scripture is also supported with many other scriptures throughout the Bible. Because in the earlier book, like for instance, the book of Genesis, there's a scripture there where we're told about Abraham. And Abraham was told that he was going to be blessed. And guess what? Those who cursed him will be cursed. So there again, we see this idea of blessings and curses. And Apostle Paul in his letter, he's informing us you are the heir of that promise that was given to Abraham. If you look at the word heir, one of the things that it means to be a possessor, to possess. So you possess the same promise that is said of blessings. But that promise also speaks of a curse. It's not saying that you will be cursed, but it says those who curse you will be cursed. So we're seeing this idea of curse being equal to death, idea of blessings to be equal to life. And Jesus comes and say that I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly in John 10:10. Guess what? We are seeing again the idea of life. And there's the idea of a thief who comes to steal, to destroy, to kill. So the idea of death again is introduced in that scriptures, but in a different way. What am I saying? The writer here is not talking about something mystic or something out of this planet, something some other preachers have tried to talk about. But the writer of the scriptures here is telling us a very simple concept. As I explained to you in my personal story, when I was let go from a project that I thought was so valuable and amazing, I had a choice to feel as if I was a victim of the situation. And I had the right to feel that way. When my wife was let go from her job, She had the right to feel as a victim. She could have said, I'm going to take this to court. I'm going to challenge it. They did this because, but it would be a burning of wheels on the tarmac. You know, you put the car on a park and you just vroom, 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 and it goes nowhere. You are spinning. You're not going nowhere. One of my very good friend who is a pastor as well, and he was my pastor, he used to say this. It's like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do. You're rocking up and back and forth, but it takes you nowhere. And that's what happened. When you choose to feel as if you're a victim, what you are saying there, or what you are doing, you are ceasing to exist in a direction that you wanted to go. So you are considered to be cursed, or you're as good as dead to that which you want to be. So that's the choice you have, either to die, meaning that you are no longer going to progress forward, because life, in other definition, it means continuation, evolving forward, among many other definitions. But one of them that is critical and probably primarily meaningful to this conversation is this idea of positive continuation, movement forward. When you cease to move forward, you're going to move backward. And when you move backward, it's the opposite of forward movement. If a forward movement means life, a backward movement will mean death. Therefore, you are dead to that forward movement, but you might be alive to the backward movement. So you are dead. If I had chose to feel as a victim and feel bad and complain and maybe take another job, but I will be miserable, I wouldn't have a privilege to experience life as I had. I know what it means to live in a luxurious home. I know what it means to have all of this. But most important, I've given my children the privilege to know luxury life. And because they have been given that privilege, guess what? It is easier for them to embrace life of greater value than anything less. Because they were exposed to it, they were aware of it, and they were surrounded with friends who had similar values. So by the mere fact I moved to a particular neighborhood, I elevated my children's awareness. They saw beautiful homes than the one they had. They saw friends, and all alike they saw good stuff. And therefore they become aware of something good. They are not surprised when they see good things anymore. They might say, wow, this is very, very good. Or this is amazing. But it doesn't take them out of their comfort because they have seen it, they've experienced it, they have drunk from it. And therefore they have a higher likelihood of doing better and greater because of the exposure they had. It's not a guarantee. The only guarantee is on this principle that you're learning here. Choose life, which simply means choose that idea that elevates your awareness, that elevate the quality of life that you have, that elevate the experience that you are having today. That is the idea you have to choose when you're told to choose life. Not I have to choose it for you. Not John have to choose it for you. You have to choose it for yourself. It is the choice that you have to make. And you're asked to make that choice. You're asked. It is not that you are commanded. You are asked to make that very choice. And if you make that choice, transformation is the experience or is the promise. It is said actually, you choose life so that you and your descendant may live. And here is the word descendant that is used, and people have used it as to mean your kids, your kids' children, your children. That's not what the scripture means. The scripture concerns nothing with your descendants, because each and every one of us is judged according to our own measure of thinking, because you are judged based on the thoughts or the decisions you make. The choice you make every step of your life will render judgment of either whether you're going to be enjoying a life of higher experience, or you're going to enjoy the life of what you've been enjoying for all these years, or you're going to even downgrading to a lower life quality. It is all based on the choices you make. Not based on your parents were doing good or they did that. If anybody is telling you that, I'm sorry to tell you that's a lie. And you're going to say, oh, but I've seen people who their parents are doing great and they do great. So I've seen people who their parents are doing greater and they do so poorly in their life. Simply because the choices they make, despite of the fact of what their parents has, will determine of what experience they will have. So those that you've seen doing well, because they apply this very principle, whether they knew what they were applying or not, but what they simply did, they actually chose life at each and every encounter they had where challenges were standing before them. In this world, there are tribulation, or there will be tribulation, meaning that in this world, challenges are a way of life. And actually, I see challenges as opportunities. Challenges are signs standing on the road or in this journey of life, informing us of where we are at each and every moment of this journey. Your problems is not a devil trying to come to take away from you. It is simply a sign at your journey, the road you're going through. It says this is where you are. If you don't like where you are, know that you have a choice. At that moment when you recognize the problem, when you feel the pain, when you are frustrated, when you're hurt, you are presented by choice. And the choice is either you choose life or you choose death. And to choose life is to choose to move forward in favor of that ideal that will elevate the quality of your life. In simple, is that ideal or that thing that will add a smile in your face. Fast forward a few years later, I encountered another problem. And when I encountered the problem, I found some challenges. And I could have been bitter by that experience. And the experience is because of some business activities, out of certain confusion that I had, I found myself was charged. And say, you know what, you committed fraud in those business activities. I said, but I didn't steal from anybody. I didn't wake up a single day and go and trying to steal or take something that I should not take from anyone. And the government said, nope, that's not what we consider as fraud. We know, we see these people, they said you've done it, they know you knew what they were doing and you helped them doing it. I said, I didn't help anybody. But it was not enough. And many of them came, not everybody, but many of them came and providing information that was not consistent with what my memory says. Not only what my memory says, based on some of the evidence that I had, but I lost that trial regardless. And when I lost, I was sentenced. In fact, the judge who sentenced me at a sentence that is 50% more than my counterparts, not people who were actually other people who committed similar offense at a more aggravated manner than me. They were given a 50% reduction on their sentence, and I was only given less than 10. And some of those people, it was the same judge who sentenced me, sentenced these people for the same offense. The law says everybody should be equated with the same sentence if their conduct are similar. And I know of people, I knew of cases I came to know later, of people who are Caucasian, who were sentenced by the same judge at a sentence more lenient than I did. So in that circumstances, I have a right to feel as a victim. I have every right to feel as a victim because the evidence says that judge, based on the record, is the same judge. That judge should have been smart enough because he's a judge. He should have known that he had sentenced somebody before who had the similar conduct as me. And the law prohibits to sentence similar conduct differently. So he had set precedency in his own law, in his own court. And consistent with that, that judge should have said, yeah, I have to honor that which I honor on another person. I have to give. I might not like Alpha, but guess what? I am obligated to respect the law because I'm a judge. The government had the same opportunity to say, no, listen, man, judge, we know we want this guy to be punished because we feel this, we feel that he might have been bad, whatever the case, but they had the obligations also to see justice is served. Justice is served doesn't mean people are punished. It means people are treated equally regardless of the color of their skin in the eyes of the law. So when that happened, I had an option. Out of that experience, I could have been bitter, and I have the right to be bitter. I met people who were bitter because of how they were treated by the court system, by the justice system. And you can see, and they are miserable because of their bitterness. I had the same option, the same opportunity. But again, choose life. Choose life. And I will put a pause in here. But before I go, I want you to continue to follow this series so that you can learn how to live a Christian life in this day and age. Better yet, have a happier and more meaningful experience in your life.